Kibutsuji Muzan is one of the most powerful demons to ever live. Over hundreds of years, he's terrorized humanity with his sheer might and many demons. A group was created known as the Demon Slayer Corps with the task of defeating him. But for most of its history, nobody could find him. Eventually, he did get defeated, but at the cost of many lives. If only the Demon Slayer Corps were more powerful. If only they had more resources, then maybe more lives could have been saved many years earlier. What if there was an alternative to the Demon Slayer Corps? What if there was another group of demon hunters so powerful that Muzan could have never hoped to last even a month in their world? What if Muzan had to face the Holy Church from the Nasuverse? To understand just how different the scenario would be, you have to step back and look at what the Holy Church actually is. In the Nasuverse, the Church has two faces. Outwardly, it preaches the love of God and aids the sick and poor.
This is the very first plane that I purchased for the Lord back in December 1994.
But its hidden arm specializes in eliminating heresy and supernatural threats. Anyone who insults God, misleads the public, twists the law of nature with occult means, or threatens humanity through unnatural power falls under the label of heretic. It's a global force, one of very few organizations larger in manpower than the Clock Tower, the central hub of mages. Even in countries where Christianity is a minority religion, the Holy Church still operates to protect humanity from paranormal threats. It is humanity's immune system, the defense mechanism that keeps hostile species like vampires from spreading. Inside the church, there are several key factions. The executioners are the front line, heretic inquisitors, trained for combat and assassination. More secret still is the burial agency, a covert unit that handles the worst of the worst, such as dead apostles, vampire-like beings, and anything too dangerous for normal authorities. These elite hunters combine faith, training, and supernatural weaponry to destroy beings far above ordinary human capability. The church also enjoys access to an arsenal that puts the Demon Slayer Corps to shame. Its standard weapons are the Black Keys, long, thin swords that can be thrown like giant daggers. They forcefully rewrite a corrupted body back towards its human state. Dead apostles struck by them are prevented from regenerating, compelled to remember the natural laws they once obeyed. Beyond Black Keys, the church wields firearms, including city-leveling weapons such as the scripture ornaments with unique conceptual effects. The 7th Holy Scripture, for example, is an anti-reincarnation canon that disperses the target's soul into nothingness. On top of this, church operatives often know magecraft, manipulating mana to create supernatural effects, fire, light, reinforcement, illusions, and more. Now compare this to Kibutsuji Muzan. In Demon Slayer, Muzan is the progenitor of all demons, a shape-shifting immortal who lived for hundreds of years. His body contains multiple brains and hearts, making him nearly impossible to kill by normal means. Even if his head is cut off, he can survive. He can split himself into dozens of fragments, create new demons at will by giving them his blood, and recover from catastrophic damage in moments. He's cunning and extremely elusive. For centuries, the Demon Slayer Corps couldn't even find his location because he constantly moved, hid behind human identities, and used his underlings to do his dirty work. His elite 12 demon moons serve as his shock troopers, each capable of massacring entire squads of demon slayers on their own. The Corps' greatest warriors, the Hashira, can sometimes defeat an upper moon, only at enormous cost. The Demon Slayer Corps itself is kind of fragile. Its fighters are trained swordsmen who use special breathing styles to enhance their bodies. The only real weapon are Nichiren blades, steel swords infused with sunlight. These are lethal to demons, but still require the wielder to get close and land a clean decapitation, which is not easy when your opponent regenerates faster than you swing. Even the Hashira, the elite among the elite, are still mortal humans who can be ripped apart if they make one mistake. It took the sacrifice of nearly all of them, plus a sunrise, and a poison specifically engineered over decades that finally pinned Muzan down and end him. If the Holy Church replaced the Demon Slayer core, Muzan's nightmare begins immediately. From the start, the Church's variety of weapons gives it an enormous edge. Black keys would stop his regeneration in their tracks, and firearms like the 7th Holy Scripture could potentially erase him outright. The Church also wields Magecraft, something the Demon Slayer core simply doesn't have. Magecraft can be used to detect non-human entities, trace their mana signatures, and replicate environmental hazards. Muzan's greatest defense is his elusiveness, which would crumble once the Church Magi begin tracking him. They have spells that detect corrupted life force, bounded field sensors, or familiar spirits that scour entire cities at once. Even before the Church deploys its big guns, the quality of its operatives changes the dynamic. Take CL, the 7th member of the Burial Agency. She's effectively the Holy Church's answer to a one-woman anti-monster army. For one thing, unlike the Hashira, she can't actually die. Her immortality works by having the world itself reverse time on her body. Even if she's burned to ashes or every cell is destroyed, she returns to normal. Even if she's burned to ashes or every cell is destroyed, she returns to normal. She cannot age or die. CL is also authorized to carry the 7th Holy Scripture, which she transformed into a brutal melee weapon that can pound monsters to death physically or erase their souls conceptually. In the Nasuverse, she has fought Arcuate Brunstad, a true ancestor vampire whose raw power makes even Muzan look like a small-time thug. Facing CL for him would be like facing Yorichi Sugikuni, but worse, because she's effectively immortal and wields anti-soul weaponry on top of her speed and skill. And CL is only one agent. If the Church decided Muzan warranted elimination, they could request other conceptual weapons like the Black Barrel, which strips immortality completely. This would be devastating to a being whose entire fighting style is based on surviving basically anything. Even without these tools, Magecraft offers simple workarounds. In Demon Slayer, Sunlight is the only truly lethal force against Muzan, but in the Nasuverse, Sunlight is just another energy to be controlled. A Magus could craft sunlight-infused arrows or bounded fields that mimic the dawn, or a bomb that detonates the concept of sun energy. They could saturate an area with artificial sunlight and watch them burn. And then there's heroic spirits. In the Fate series, the Church has knowledge of how to summon servants, each with supernatural stats and reality-breaking noble phantasms. Most of them would massively outclass Muzan. The various Asans have such high presence concealment that they could infiltrate Muzan's layers and sever all his brains and hearts before he realizes what's happening. Even a mid-tier servant with a noble phantasm that targets mortals would be a big deal. Against these foes, Muzan's usual tactics of relying on his upper moons wouldn't matter either, since heroic spirits on average are much stronger. Muzan's only counter strategy would be to create more demons, but this would probably backfire. In the Nasuverse, the collective unconscious of humanity, Alaya, responds to existential threats by deploying counter-guardians, essentially cosmic hitmen who raise anomalies that threaten human survival. A sudden surge of human-infecting demons might just draw the planet's attention. Muzan could hide, but maybe for a short while. His Infinity Castle, a pocket dimension, might delay pursuit, but the Nasuverse is full of mages and weapons designed to penetrate bounded fields, pocket spaces, and conceptual layers. In short, Muzan has no real way of countering the Holy Church. Against the Demon Slayer core, his immortality, regeneration, and cunning made him an almost unbeatable foe for centuries. Against the Church, those same traits simply make him a high priority target for an organization built to exterminate exactly his kind. CL alone will be a nightmare matchup. The Holy 7th Scripture, the Black Barrel, or even Sunlight-based Magecraft would all exploit his weaknesses. Heroic spirits tip the scales from difficult to hopeless. And hovering over all of this is the possibility of Alaya's counterforce stepping in, either of which would erase him effortlessly.